Natasha,
Debbie,
show.
the show.
Welcome to it. Just two patriotic girls.
Learning about the world.
So please, don't take us the wrong way.
Hi, welcome to the Natasha and Debbie Show.
Hi, Austria. We've had a lot of fun so far, just taking a little look around Austria, over the mountains. I'm being really ridiculous. And we want to learn a little bit more.
That's right. Last week we learned 101 facts, and today we're going to learn 10 plus surprising facts.
About Austria.
But are they going to be surprising? We don't know yet.
We do know because we only know 101 facts now. Hey guys, if you like the content we do here on YouTube, please hit the like button. It takes half a second to do. Time yourself.
And also consider subscribing to our channel. It's absolutely free. And
Also-
also only takes half a second.
Yes, it does. We're lame.
Hey, we high-fived.
It's a long story. We're really bad at that. Anyway, but so yeah, we're going to take a look at these 10 surprising facts, but please in the comments, give us your surprising fact you want us to learn about Austria.
We learn more in the comments than we do a lot of times in the videos
Facts.
because you are actually there and giving us the best information.
It's a true story. Okay, now on with the fact learning. Nicolas Cage. Interesting.
That is.
Wow.
Austria is a country that may not come up in the media all the time, but it is an
doesn't.
important place
Wow,
with a
again.
fascinating culture and people, and of course history. And today here on FTD Facts, we are looking at the great country of Austria and finding out what is interesting about this country.
That's what's interesting about this country. It's just beautiful.
The sights.
It's just beautiful.
And isn't that a waterfall in the background?
Yeah,
there?
we saw that in the very first video we did. It was from the other
Still.
side, but
That's gorgeous.
we saw this in every video
I
so
know.
far we've done about Austria. But you know what? I could see this every day and never get to. I could open my door and this be my surroundings.
And still be amazed.
Amazed, absolutely. That is so beautiful.
It is.
Good
Gorgeous.
Lord. Sorry, it's just stunning. What was he saying? I wasn't listening. I'm
You're
looking.
looking at the great country of Austria and finding out
Oh, yeah.
what is interesting about this country. It is a country that has its own unique story and has made its own individual contributions to the world. A place and people who have their own way of doing things that may be different from the rest of Europe. Hey everybody, what's
Hi.
going on? Dave Walpole here. Welcome to FTD Facts, the channel where we usually talk about people, cultures, and places from all around the world. Now, yeah, we're talking about Austria because, well, we've done some videos on Germany in the last little bit. We've done stuff on other European countries. And for this video, actually quite a bit of you guys actually recommended that we talk about Austria. So this is our time to actually do it. Now, keep in mind when
Let's
we
do
do these
it.
videos, guys, sometimes we leave out facts. So if there's anything that we left out, be sure to let us know down here in the
Exactly.
comments section below. So let's get rolling with it, guys. Let's find out what is fascinating about this really unique country known as Austria and what it is definitely doing different from the rest of the places on the planet. So when it comes to Austria, it might be a country that is very similar to Germany, but that doesn't mean that they are German because the country itself has its own borders and land that stretches out to 83,879 kilometers square, making the
Wow.
country the 113th largest country in the world. And throughout these
Hold up. So when I see places like that, and then the next scene, was it the next one?
kilometers square, making the country
The lake.
Yeah. It does remind me of Norway. Is it just me?
I can see what you mean with the mountains and the lake.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There was other things in the first video we watched that really looked like Norway to me.
It's just gorgeous.
It's really hard to not look at it. Sorry, but I'm also not sorry because it's just really pretty.
Very.
Very pretty.
the 113th largest country in the world. And throughout these borders, the people of Austria have their own unique rules, and they've got their own different types of people. And when it comes to population, they have roughly 8,794,000 people, ranking 96th in the world, with a population density of 104 people per square kilometer. Now, of course, being next to Germany, the main language is German, coming in at 88.4%.
Yeah, but would you guys say it would be more like an Austrian German?
Yeah, is it like a different, like I guess you'd say
Dialect.
slang. Dialect.
Dialect.
Probably be better.
Yeah. I would think it would be different dialect. So correct me if I'm wrong. It just makes sense that it would be different dialect.
And about 2.4% speak Serbian, 2.3% speak Turkish, and 1.3% Croatian. And of course, there are many other different languages that are under the 1%.
Echo.
However, with all these people combined, approximately 81% of all these people are straight up Austrians. So that's just a basic idea, guys. When you go, oh yeah, you're probably from Germany. No, they're different. Austrians are different from Germans. Now, we did talk about land size, but when it does come to the land, Austria is known to be a very mountainous country, with most of the country being a part of the Alps. And actually about only 32% of the country is under 1,640 feet above sea level.
Really?
Which basically means most of the country is up very high. But
it's like Norway. This is where I'm moving to do that job I learned I'm taking. Remember?
Yes.
I'm leaving you to become a mountain cleaner in Austria.
Cleaner. Yeah.
What does that pay? It better be a lot. I'm sorry.
Gorgeous countryside, all the pine trees there, going through the
forest,
driving through the road.
What's that forest that I like?
And it looks like the roads are plenty wide enough to drive through.
Yeah, I concur. Is it the Krimmel Forest? Krimmel Falls.
Maybe.
Sorry. Did I pronounce that right?
I think it is.
40 feet above sea level, which basically means most of the country is up very high. But what is the highest point of Austria? Well, that goes to Mount Großglockner, which is the highest mountain in Austria. Coming in at 12,461 feet, she is actually the highest point in the Alps, east of Brenner Pass. And although people have been living in Europe for quite a long time, and a lot of Europe was discovered way back in the day, this mountain was not documented until 1561. So with all these people living up in very high mountainous areas, one thing that Austrians are known for is alpine skiing. What is alpine skiing? Well, basically it's downhill skiing. That's right, taking skis and going downhill. It's my favorite thing to do. As a matter of fact, the people of Austria are known from all around the world for being great downhill skiers, with skiing being the most prominent sport within the country. And one thing
I was just going to ask you to pause that. You know that I have never skied. No, because I will go into a tree in 10 seconds. Have you?
No.
Why have we not talked about this?
I don't know.
I know I've talked about it, but I didn't remember you talking about it.
No, I'm scared. I don't think I could do it. Same with you, running into a tree or off the edge of the mountain. You know,
so we're not going to be doing that.
No.
We have a ski resort not far from us, but no.
I would do very good taking the lift up to the lodge or
no, you wouldn't.
Cabin at the top.
You're way too afraid of heights.
Sitting by a fire and having a nice hot chocolate.
And you don't like hot chocolate.
Well, I would have one.
No, you wouldn't.
Surrounded in that area? Yes, I would.
She'd be like, give you some cold ice cream.
That would work too.
I used to do the ski lifts with my dad in Tennessee and stuff in the mountains there, but I was a kid and didn't know the fear of dying from falling.
True.
No, my hat's off to anybody who does these kinds of things. I wish I was this type of person. I'm just not.
Exactly.
I'm more of an indoors type girl.
Downhill skiers, with skiing being the most prominent sport within the country. And one thing that's really important about skiing, Austria is pretty much the place where it invented modern day alpine skiing. This is because the design for steel edges on skis was invented in 1928 in Austria. As well, when it comes to skiing, one thing that's really amazing about Austria is the little villages that you can go to for skiing. So cool. They just look so quaint and quiet and like...
Maybe I'm going to take up skiing after all. I'm just going to come with skis to hang out at the villages, but I'm not skiing. And I'll look like a cute little snow bunny in my little all white après ski outfits and whatnots. And then I'm not going down no damn hill. I'm going to be hanging out in the village and having the hot chocolate she pretends that she's going to drink. She can order it.
You take a lift up so you can go shopping. I love how colorful that is.
That's
especially
so cool. Is that even real or is that like a picture? I can't tell if that's real or not.
I think it's real.
Is that real? I don't know. Kind of looks like a painting. It does look like a painting. There, it zoomed in a little bit there.
villages that you can go to for skiing. They just look so quaint and quiet, and like I just love these little villages that you can go to. And one of the most famous places that you can go for skiing is Aalborg, and it's not just famous because of skiing, but this is also the region where Hans Schneider invented modern-day ski techniques almost a century ago. Now, okay, we could talk about skiing in Austria for a long time because it's the most prominent sport in the country, and there's just so much history to it. But moving right along, one thing that's fascinating about Austria is that on January 1st of 1995, the country did decide to join the European Union. However, although they're part of the European Union, they're actually not a part of NATO. One of the reasons is because when Austria became neutralized after the USSR and the Allied countries removed their occupation in 1956, Austria pretty much from there on decided that they just wanted to be a neutral country because of the issues that happened in World War II. They just didn't want to be a part of anything bad that would happen in the future. Therefore, the country swore itself into neutrality and remained from war. Now, Austria, as a matter of fact, she stands at 6th in the world when it comes to economic complexity. The country makes $141 billion in exports and about $146 billion in imports. And comparing Austria to other countries that we've talked about here on FTD Facts, one unique thing about Austria is that it doesn't really have a prime import or export. That's right, the country seems to export and import a little bit of everything. Because, for example, their highest percentage of imports is cars, coming in at 5.6%. And out of all their imports and exports, Austria is labeled as one of the wealthiest countries in the entire world. As a matter of fact, in 2014, it was listed as 21st in the world when it came to the Human Development Index scale. And this is probably due to the fact that, you know, Austria has just been a great country that's been around for such a long time, and it's been such an important place when it comes to history. And diving into this history slightly, when we talk about the country's flag, it is actually one of the oldest in the world. Although it was officially adopted in 1918, the style of the flag has been thought to have been adopted by the coat of arms of the Babenberg dynasty, which is roughly around the 12th and 13th century. And diving even further into this country's past, the country has had multiple days in history of independence, even dating back to 976 AD when it became the Margraviate of Austria. But however, its official year of foundation was in 1804 when it became known as the Austrian Empire. As well as
1804, the Austrian Empire. See, a lot of these facts, I need to be told them like 30 times to get it in my head.
Only 30? I'm like,
I don't know about even that many times. Just need to hear them a few more times.
Oh, me definitely.
Stuck in
That's
there.
what I'm saying.
You know?
It's so much history stuff to take in.
It's a lot of years.
Mm-hmm.
We're Americans. We don't know nothing about no lots of years. I had to say that stupidly. Yeah, we don't think back that far. Wow. I want to go back to this part.
Countries had multiple days in history of independence, even dating back to 976 AD when it became the Margraviate of Austria. But however, its official year of foundation was in 1804 when it became known as the Austrian Empire. As well as diving into their history, Austria is a country that has provided a lot of great musical composers from the classical era. You have great composers such as Mozart, and even though Beethoven was born in Germany, he lived in many years in Austria composing music. And on top of that, there's also Johann Strauss, Joseph Haydn, and Franz Schubert. And the reason for this is because Vienna was such a huge, important...
What's that? Forget the composers. We already learned about that. What's that? Yeah, that's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my life.
It's a very beautiful building.
What is that? And did we already see this?
Maybe it's a college or something, or a place of music where these people learned.
Schubert. And the reason for this is because Vienna was such a huge, important center or hub for music way back in the day. And
I need to go wherever
if we're going to talk about center or hub for music way back in the day. And actually, if we're going to talk about Vienna, we should probably mention some really cool, interesting features about this place. For example, it is home to one of...
Yeah, we already learned that. We learned that last week. No, hold on. So I just have a question. So obviously Vienna is the London or the New York City or the Los Angeles of Austria, right? Do you guys get frustrated with that as much as we do here in America, hearing about New York City and Los Angeles, as much as the UK does, getting irritated about London? Right. Do you get irritated with Vienna? Or not at all? Or are you just like cool with that? I'm just wondering.
That is a great question.
Yeah, it's more important than stuff that we've already learned. Although I want to see it again because
Of course.
the emerald. I kind of want to go steal that. What?
Nobody's stealing anything. What are you
Jewel
talking
thievery.
about?
No, it is neat. But and what was that building that he keeps talking over? I need to know what this is.
Yeah, that is a gorgeous building.
I don't remember seeing
Love
that.
to know.
No, if we did see this, we didn't see this angle of it.
Mm-mm.
That is sexy. Okay, I could see myself. It's probably like a museum.
Especially with all the statues
Well,
on
it's
the
got
top.
something on the awning down there that I can't read.
No, it's too blurry,
And small.
and we won't be able to
Oh, it's
understand it anyway.
beautiful.
That is super cool.
That is. And then you see the people on the side.
Yeah.
Architecture is just stunning, and we both are obsessed with architecture. So.
Day. And actually, if we're going to talk about Vienna, we should probably mention some really cool, interesting features about this
Show me
place.
that emerald again.
For example, it is home to one of, if not the world's largest emerald. This is the Emerald
He's a monster.
Ungutarian, which is 2,860 carats. And it might have been carved out of a Colombian mine in 1641, but it is now on display at the Imperial Treasury in Vienna, Austria. And also when it comes to Vienna, the city itself is pretty much completely a UNESCO zone. Although Austria may have 10 UNESCO zones all over the country, with 9 of them being cultural and 1 being natural, which basically when it comes to its natural zone, that's the primeval forests of the country, Vienna is listed as one of the most important cities and listed as a UNESCO zone because of its importance in history. And one thing, as we mentioned before, it just was a place that provided so many great composers in history. And to break it down, when it comes to Vienna, about 371 hectares or 3.71 kilometers square of the city is considered a protected UNESCO zone. Of this city, about 75% of it is owned by individual people, and 18% of it is publicly owned, while 7% is owned by the Roman Catholic Church. And you know,
I'm noticing a lot of like horse-drawn carriages going through the cities and towns. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you're right.
I like that.
I like seeing that
Of this city, about 75% of it is owned by individual people, and 18% of it is publicly owned, while 7% is owned by the Roman Catholic Church. And you know what? I don't really want this video to just be focused on Vienna, but there is one thing that Vienna does have that no other country can ever claim, and I mean, Austria can claim it too because it's, you know, within Austria. And that is the Tiergarten Schönbrunn Zoo, which is the world's oldest zoo. And not only that, but it's also special because it's one of the few zoos in the world that can house the giant pandas. As well, Austria can claim that this zoo had the first panda to be birthed by natural insemination in all of Europe. And this was baby panda Fu, which happened on August 23rd of 2007. And on top of that, Austria can also claim that they had the first elephant born in captivity on July 14th of 1906. However, as for the zoo itself, it opened in 1752, like I said, making it the world's oldest zoo. But one thing that's really fascinating about this is that there was also a zoo that existed since 1540 in the same grounds before this zoo was ever created. So this place was just destined to have a zoo there. I don't know. And now I'm going to jump off the Vienna topic because I've been talking about Vienna for so long, but it is a very interesting city. But I got to talk about one thing that Austria has that no other country can claim. And that is the country has the world's longest ice cavern. This is the Austrian Istreisenwald Caves, which are natural limestone caves, and they are sometimes referred to as the world of the ice giants, because this long cave goes approximately 42 kilometers deep. And although it was officially discovered in 1879, locals did know of the cave before, but they refused to explore it because they thought it was an entrance to hell.
Smart. Probably
I was
was.
scared too back then, of course.
I'm still scared.
This is fascinating. I'm glad we're getting to see a little bit more inside of it.
Yeah, because they touched on a lot of these facts last week, but so daggone quick that we couldn't even process it. So this is cool to have more in-depth information on it and show it a little bit more than they did. But where was it? I'm going back. That is terrifying, and it looks like the entrance to hell.
I don't think that.
That doesn't scare you?
If it were red lights in there, yes.
It just scares me. I don't care what color the lights are in general. It's terrifying.
Cave before, but they refused to explore it because they thought it was an entrance to hell. Either
get
way,
it.
this fascinating natural structure attracts over 20,000 tourists a year and is
I would
really
think more
quite an
than that.
amazing thing to see. So that is just a look at the great country known as Austria, a country that there is just not enough time to talk about when it
What's the fishing like there?
I would think pretty good, but
I just want to like sit there and like cast a line in, and would be fun. It's just so beautiful. The water is just
so
blue.
Seems so blue.
It is.
the great country known as Austria, a country that there is just not enough time to talk about when it comes to not only its culture, but its history. Which reminds me,
Beauty,
guys,
too.
if we forgot anything, be sure to let us know down there in the comments section below, because we generally like to do
what's that?
part 2s
What's
to our
that?
videos.
Austria.
Absolutely.
It was nice, like I said there a moment ago. We learned, a lot of these facts. Not all of them, but a lot of them last week. But, those were really fast. This was cool because it slowed it down a little bit.
And a tiny bit more in depth. I would love to see more into the ice cave.
Would you go in that?
Yeah, I would.
Okay. I would too.
It's been there that long. I don't think there's any fear of it falling down.
This video is 7 years old. I'm really surprised that he said 20,000 visitors to that ice cave a year. I would think a lot more than that. I would think a lot more.
Yeah, I guess maybe people aren't up to the cold.
I don't know. Maybe they just don't know.
I would go.
Maybe it's not well advertised. I have no idea. I loved this. I hope you liked this. If you liked it, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. It's a lot of fun to learn about different things, and there's a lot of cool stuff in here. But I had some questions during this video that I hope you'll answer for us. Yeah, it's just beautiful, and every time we've looked at it now, third week? Yeah, this is third week looking at Austria.
Yep. Always stunning.
Beautiful.
Love seeing all the mountains, the snow, skiing, not so much into that, but I would definitely do the ice cave.
I'll do the villages, ski villages. I'm going to have skis. I'm not going to use them. I'm going to buy skis just to walk around with them to go to the villages to look like I'm a skier.
To look like you're doing the part.
Yeah. Just to hang out.
It'd be great to go see some of the museums and learn more about the composers and stuff like that. Yes.
A lot. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you on the next episode. That was episode twice. Until then, and as always, please love like Jess.
Be as strong as Tyson.
Bye, guys.
Bye.